Hey guys, Carl from Purple Misplays. Today I'm going to be taking a preview look at a prototype copy of Peacemakers, Horrors of War from designers Sami, Laakso, and Ville Reinikainen and publisher Snowdale Design. This follow-up to their original Dawn of Peacemakers is currently on Gamefound, and it's sort of a multi-use card game in which you find yourself as a woodland creature or a group of woodland creatures heading out into the battlefield to sort of mediate between the armies that are at war on the battlefield, working towards some kind of a ceasefire. I never got a chance to play the original game, but I was always very intrigued by the concept, and it sounded like a really cool idea. So when I heard that there was a new version or a sort of sequel to that game coming out, I did everything I could to try and get my hands on a preview copy of this to try and test it out and let you know what I think about the game. With that said, I should say here, disclaimer, I was given a prototype copy of this game from the publisher, but with that said, I will always do my best to give you my own honest opinion on every game that I play. Let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode in this game plays, and then I'll beat you back up here to let you know what I think. To set up a game of Peacemakers, Horrors of War, begin by taking out the two map books and opening up to the scenario that you're playing for that game. For this gameplay, I will be playing through scenario 2. So we'll open each book up to page number 2, just like this, and piece those together like that to build the map. Next, take all of the cards associated with that scenario and separate them into deck types. So these three are actually going to be resources that get added into the regular resource deck in just a minute. Then we've got the green cards here for the Tuatara Pirates. That gets set here. The left and right cards there for the Bears. And then the same thing again, the left and right cards there for the macaws. Next, to set up the different units for each army, you're going to look at the symbol below the picture for each unit type. Those are going to be the bases that you need for each particular enemy type. So for this macaw soldier, for example, 2 circles and 1 star. The commander, 1 star. The ranger, 1 gear shape. On the other side, the pirates, 1 circle. This bear commander, 1 star. And then here for the chargers, 1 star and 2 gears. And then for each unit type, you will also need to find the meeples. So here's the lizard pirate. This is the bear commander. These here are the 3 bear chargers. Here is the macaw ranger. The 3 macaw soldiers. And finally, the commander Warak is here. And then finally, we're going to put them all in their appropriate bases and place them out on the map where the letters are shown. So for example, this lizard is marked as an A, so he will go on this location. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of them right now. So that's it for map setup. But we also need to place out these crystals here on the orange space here on their motivation tracks. And then we're going to set up the last 2 decks of cards for the game. We've got the horror cards and the resource cards. Again, those resource cards that came out of the scenario will get shuffled into that deck as well. We're going to shuffle those, placing them off to the side of the board, like that. Leaving some space here for a discard pile, and the same thing with the horror cards, which I hope we never see in the gameplay, and you'll see why in a minute. But we'll place those just up there as well. And then up top here on the empty space, I'm going to place the damage tokens and the fortification tokens just for use later on in the game, as well as the 12-sided die. And then finally, I need to choose a character of the 4 characters. And for this playthrough, I will be playing as Tambacho the gecko. And my character starts where this little sort of tent icon is, so I will be starting right there. And also, I will start with 4 resource cards in my hand. And seeing already that these 2 are scenario cards, I clearly didn't do a good enough job shuffling, so I'm going to shuffle one more time. Drawing back out 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like that. And with that, we are all set up for gameplay. So before I get into gameplay, I want to read the sort of story introduction for the scenario. You'll see that every story has a story and then some conversation between the characters. I'm not going to bother with the conversation between the characters. I'm simply just going to read the story so you understand what's going on, and then I'll explain what the purpose of the game is. It says, Scenario 2, Loose Cannon. After the flames of the past war were snuffed out and the fighting quieted, folks reacted in various ways. Some tried to rebuild bridges with their old foes. Others wanted nothing to do with them. Some spectacled bears, however, never stopped fighting. Their rage still burned red hot, fueled by lives lost in the past, fanned by blood spilt in the present. As long as there was a chance to avenge, they would not stop. As it were, there was always something to avenge. The adventurers watched from a distance as boats landed on Axikuk's western coast. The shore soon swarming with furry, battle-hardened fighters. Their war cries could be heard all the way to the macaw stronghold. The bears had landed behind it, in enemy territory, and they were preparing for a charge. The macaws were ready, however. The fortress had stood here at the Empire's border for decades. It would take a force of nature mightier than an angry bear to break its walls. As it happened, one was coming. A sound of thunder split the clear skies, followed by another. Shocked, the adventurers took cover as huge stones fell, a part of the wall crumbling like a sandcastle against the tide. Then they saw it. A pirate ship approaching the coast, and on its deck was a weapon most fearsome. It fired again, a black bundle of destruction sailing through the air and past the walls. There was no mistaking it. The adventurers had seen it before. A horror from the past reared its head again. So as you heard in the introduction, basically these bears are attacking the macaw's fortress, and this lizard pirate down here is raining cannon fire on as well. And it's my job as a peacemaker to get in there and sort of calm the battle down. And I need to lower the motivation of both armies down into this green area. And if I can get both of them into the green area, I will win. However, if the commander, marked by this little yellow star, on either team is killed, that side will instantly surrender and I will have lost the game because the battle didn't end in peace. Also, if one side's units are all completely destroyed, the same thing, they will automatically surrender and I will lose. Also, if their motivation drops there naturally just by moving down, I will also lose. So it's my job to make sure that both of their motivation is low at the same time, so they call a truce and basically end in ceasefire and in peace. Before I get started, I also just want to show you the game comes with this sort of scenario tracker. Each of the scenarios also has some special other things you can do. The bottom 2 things that have the trophies next to them are sort of extra challenges you can add to the scenario. And then they all have this no casualties piece. I have played through this scenario twice now. I beat it once normally, and I beat it once with the triple barrel cannon challenge. However, in both games, lots of units were killed. So for this playthrough, I'm going to play this without any challenges, but I'm going to do my best to end with no casualties, which is going to be really hard because casualties help in lowering motivation. And before I get into how the game plays, I just want to point that out because every time somebody is killed, motivation is going to go down, but we're also going to add one of these horror cards directly to the top of our resource deck. And anytime a horror card comes out, it's going to cause something negative, some kind of bad event to happen to us in our gameplay. But you'll see that, well, or hopefully won't see that, and I'll explain it to you later on if it doesn't come out. But we'll get into that when it happens. For right now, let me go ahead and explain how the game plays. So the way that the game plays is actually quite simple, and most of the nuance in the game comes out in the different armies order cards and in the different ways that my cards work. But on every round, what's going to happen is I'm going to play as many cards as I want to from my hand for a bunch of different uses, and I'll explain those in just a second. But after I've played as many cards as I choose to play, I will then draw 4 additional cards into my hand, and then I will resolve the 3 armies orders by turning over the top card of every pile or every deck if it isn't already turned over, and I'll explain that in just a second, and we'll resolve what they do. Now you'll see the pirates only have a single deck. The pirates are basically going to be shooting, attacking, or healing themselves. But the other 2 armies, and most armies in this game, will have 2 decks. The leftmost deck is sort of the leader's orders kind of card, and this is going to determine or modify what they're doing for that round. And this is where you're usually going to see the things that either increase or decrease motivation depending on different conditions in the game. The cards on the right side are basically dictating exactly what the army is going to do, meaning attacking, defending, or moving for the most part. So let's talk about my turn first, because that's going to affect how their turn plays out. And on my turn, I'm going to be using these cards for a variety of effects. Every card has up to 4 different kinds of icons here on the left side, plus some kind of effect down here at the bottom. And I can play it for any of those 5 things. This first one is Survey. And Survey is going to allow me, if I'm on the same space as an enemy unit, to turn over the top card of any deck, the top face down card, topmost face down card, meaning if I turn this over, I could then use it again to turn over the next card as well to see what's coming multiple turns ahead. But as long as I'm on the spot with that particular army, I can spend 1 eyeball or 1 survey symbol each to turn over 1 card to see what's coming up, so I can prepare for things that are happening in the future. The next icon you see here are these boots. And these boots represent movement, and I can move 1 hex for every boot that I spend. Next is Fortification. I can place 1 fortification token in the location that I am standing using this symbol. And that's what these blue cubes are here. They can be placed on any hex that is not water. And you'll see that the water hexes are marked with this circle. Also in this particular scenario, you see all of these darker hexes that have a slash symbol and water. Those are not accessible except by this 1 flying unit in this case. I can never place fortification on anything that's water, but otherwise any land space can hold as much fortification as I place there. And fortification is unlimited, so for some reason, if I ever run out of tokens, I could use something else in their place. And fortification tokens are simply going to absorb 1 point of damage in any attack and then immediately be destroyed. So it's a 1-use prevention of 1 point of damage. The next symbol here will not be useful in a solo mode, but this will allow me to trade, or not trade, but give 1 card to somebody else that I'm playing with. But in a solo mode, there is no somebody else, so that will never be used. Then every other card, or every card, has a scheme effect at the bottom here. For example, this one says False Order. It says I can flip the bottommost card face up from a nearby. Nearby means sharing a hex with your character's meeple. So a nearby army's deck. And I place the card on top of the deck. So instead of flipping over the top card, I can flip the bottom card and place it on top of the deck. And then you'll see all of the schemes have this sort of marking on them. There are 4 different animals or 4 different player characters in this game, and each character is going to sort of modify some of these cards in some way. So if I had taken the Fennec Fox, I could choose not to place that card on top if I didn't like it. The next card I have is Safe Haven. And this one's going to allow me to place 2 Fortify tokens anywhere on a space that's not with water, not just on the space where I am. This is the Lost Missive, which will allow me to discard any 1 card from a nearby army's deck. So if something comes up and I want to stop that from happening, I can use that to discard the card. But again, I need to be on a space with a unit from that army. Then finally here we've got Food Poisoning. This allows me to give 2 damage to a nearby unit. So I can sneak in and poison their food and hurt them for 2 health. but I can't kill an enemy with this. It can't go below 1 health with this card. And that's important because obviously I'm a peacemaker. I don't want to be killing anybody to make peace. And as I said, I'm going to do my best not to have anybody die in this playthrough, but we'll see how that works out. Now, as far as attacking goes, sometimes the cards will say attack. Each unit has their sort of stats printed here on the book. The top number here is the range of the unit. You'll see in this game, everybody has a range of 2, so they can always hit within 2 spaces from the space that they are on. The next number is how much damage they do. Here, everybody does 3 damage when attacking, except for this flying unit here, does 5 damage. It's a very strong unit there. And then finally, the bottom number shows their maximum health, or their hit points, basically. So the commander here has 8. This commander has 8. All of the regular units have 5. And this lizard here has an infinite number of hit points. It means he's never ever going to die. He will always be in this boat causing problems. I can hurt it, and some of the cards will sort of react based on how much damage has already been done to him, but he can never die. And one more important thing for this particular scenario, the only way I can get to this boat is you will notice that there's an anchor printed on both of these hexes. There are, I believe, 4 cards in here. Those were the scenario-specific resources we mixed in, called Set Sail, that will allow me to move from one anchor to the other. But remembering, once I get here, I'm stuck unless I have another Set Sail to come back again. So I have to be careful when I go there, but sometimes it's worth hitting him because he does have some cards that will lose motivation if he's hurt, and also if he's hurt, he won't fire the cannon. He'll instead take his turn to heal himself. So that's basically it for how the game plays, aside from the nuance that comes out in the cards, but you'll hopefully see that as I play through, rather than trying to explain it all to you right now. But know that the bears are pretty aggressive and are going to be rushing the birds, and the birds are sort of locked into position. So it's worth mentioning here, some of these spaces have special things printed on them. All 3 of these fortress areas have these shields, as well as the bear over here. And those shields mean 1 automatic sort of deduction of damage when being attacked. So that will always protect 1 damage in that space. You'll also see that in these 2 village spaces and in this 1 fortress space, there are these torches printed on the board. These 2 have a single and these 2 have double. What those are is motivation. So if I can kick them out of that space, for example, if I take this commander out of that fortress, they will lose 2 motivation for not being there. But assuming that they ever went back in there again, the motivation would come back. So if I can make them retreat out of the fortress, I can instantly cause them to go down to 4 motivation, which is pretty big and is one easy way for me to manipulate motivation, because most of the time motivation only changes when events happen and certain conditions are being met in the game. So for right now, what I'd like to try and do is keep as many people alive as possible and take a look or peek at as many of these cards as I can to know what's coming up so I can start reacting to that. Right now I don't want to poison anybody unless I can get to this boat and poison him. But nobody's hurt. I'm not worried about any kind of battle for right now. I could fortify somebody. I wouldn't mind putting some fortification in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move. Yeah, I'm going to use the poisoning after all. I'm going to use the poison for a movement and a +1 card. So I'll place that and move in here, taking 1 more card, another false order. And actually, I'm going to use that false order right away as its survey. And I'm going to check to see what's going on. Okay, so you'll see here that they're fortifying, which means that every star macaw, this is where the bases mean something. Every star macaw is going to place 1 fortification out on the board. So I'm going to place that right there on top of the deck. And then, I don't mind that at all. I think, no, because it's not going to mean anything for me to see it and then the thing to end. So I'm actually going to survey again to see what the motivation is. Hold on though. I didn't look at that yet. I want to do that with discard in case, because this one lets me discard a card, and if I don't like it, I can do that. All right, swift. All right, so the macaws like to be fast, And this card is going to say that if they're the fastest, and I'll explain what that means in just a second, they're going to gain 1 motivation. And if they're the slowest, they're going to lose 1 motivation. And right now, this speed comes from the combination of the 2 cards. So you can hear there's a 6, and here there's a 3.6. So that's a 9 or a 9.6. That 0.6 will just be a tiebreaker in case somebody else pulls a 9. And I know that the lizards can sometimes be very fast. But at this point, I don't really want to waste a card to discard that, because there's nothing all that meaningful right now. If they go up 1 motivation, it shouldn't change too much, so that's fine. Then I'm going to, yeah, why not? I'm going to use this card to place 2 fortifications where I am. And then the bears are not being attacked right now, but that's fine. I'm going to use this card that lets me place fortification anywhere to place 2 fortifications with this bear right here. Now, they might charge forward, in which case the fortifications don't move because they're placed in that location, but it's at least a good place to start, because even if they move forward, this guy will end up in that spot. So drawing 4 new cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are all new cards. Let me explain the surge power. Sorry about that helicopter. All right, so consultation, I can move any 1 card from a nearby army's deck to any other position in the deck, so I can delay what's happening. Here's that set sail card that lets me go to the boat where the lizard is. Carrier pigeon lets me draw a card and give it to somebody else, and in this case, I can give 1 or 2 cards to somebody else, but that's useless in a solo mode. There's nowhere for me to give it to. So the lizard may not have been my best bet for here, but he's also got some other fun things. This one would have been fun to have right now, because it says a nearby army's next order gains +4 speed, or in the case with my lizard, +6 speed. So I could have given that to the bears to make sure that the macaws are not the fastest, but my turn is done. So it may have been a smarter thing for me to get rid of that card, but we'll see what happens now. So all of the cards that aren't turned up yet will get turned up. And unfortunately, everybody's super slow this time, so the macaws are the fastest. This is a 9.6, a 2.1, and a 1.2. So the macaws will gain 1 motivation. And then it says each star macaw places 1 fortify on its space. So we're going to have 1 there and 1 there. And those cards get discarded. So I'm just going to stick those over like that. Next, 2.1 is the bears. It says if at least 1 bear has damage -1 motivation. Nobody's hurt yet. For each damage a bear has, it gains an additional strength. Nobody's hurt, nobody's strength. But it does say each gear bear is attacking. And their range is 2. So this gear in the back can't reach, but this one can reach these 2 birds and this bird. And the way that targeting works is first the closest. They're both the same distance. And then we'll go forward from the unit and then clockwise. You'll notice that at the start there are little arrows on the space to tell me which direction they're facing. So forward from the unit would be these 2. And then it would be who gets attacked would be based on who has the lowest health, but they're both exactly the same health. And realistically, the next is then to roll a die to decide which 2, but they're both exactly the same unit and exactly the same space. They're not, because they're different symbols. So I'm going to say 1 to 6 for circle, 7 to 12. For the other, we got a 5, so the circle bird is going to take 1 damage. 3 damage, but blocked by 1 shield, blocked by 1 fortification, that goes away, and now they take 1 damage. And that's the end of the bear's turn. Now, the lizard says repair damages, remove 4 damage from the lizards. There isn't any. That gets discarded, and I will just discard these down here like that. All right, back to my turn. Only 1 person got hurt. I don't have any healing cards yet anyway. I might as well, while I'm on that location, peek. Yeah, I'm going to peek using that one where I am right now. Let's see if this is another swift. It's not. Ooh, this is great. This card revoked says, do not resolve the right half. So I don't care what this is. They're automatically losing one motivation. Because somehow their plans were foiled and they're not happy about it. All right, so let's go play with the bears. Then I'm going to, potentially those are both survey. This doesn't have a survey, that's a move and a card. So I'm actually gonna do that. I don't need to set sail right now. Move and take one card. Ooh, and there's a healing card, emergency care. Remove up to 2 damage, and in my case, because I'm a lizard, 3 damage from a nearby unit. So we are a super healer as the gecko, which could be good in preventing everybody from dying. So let's see what happens. Nobody's really all that hurt right now, so I'm actually going to use that as a move and a card anyway to get myself over here. Like that. Mixed groups. Ooh, this one lets me switch. So if I play this card, I can make sure that whatever card comes out in the right side will be the circle group activating that. But right now, the bears don't have any circles, and I don't care about the macaws too much. So I'm going to use that as a survey. Let's see what the bear's condition is. Roaring. After this order, if there's one or more macaws within one space of the group, macaws lose 1 motivation. Otherwise, the bears lose 1 motivation. All right, in that case, I don't care. Either one losing motivation is good for me at this point because it's early yet. So I'm actually going to use the carrier pigeon to draw a new card. Nobody to give it to, but at least means I have some other option, and food poisoning comes up. Remember, the last bear card we saw says at least one bear in the group is hurt. They lose motivation. So I'm actually going to poison the bear that I'm standing next to. So he takes 2 damage. I'll heal it later if I need to. There's nobody's getting attacked this turn. And then, you know what? I'm going to use this card to peek at the next card here because I don't really care if they're attacking. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to peek at the second one under roaring, which is that burning where the bear's losing if they're hurt. So that's great. All right, so we're going to keep that. Drawing 4 new cards. 1, 2, another set sail. 3, 4. Great. Fortification and healing looks good to me. Bear and lizard and macaw flips over. So we've got a 1.3, an 8.7, and a 6.5. Bear goes first. It says, charge. Each star bear moves forward 1 space. So he's moving here with his damage. He's moving here. Now the bears are within 1 space of macaws, means the macaws lose 1 motivation. Next is the lizard. Defend the ship. Tuatara attacks. There's nobody within 2 spaces of him on the bird's side, so he can't do anything. He's also gaining 2 defense, but nobody's attacking him, so it doesn't matter. Macaws, this side doesn't matter, which is great. They're not attacking, but they're just going to lose 1 motivation. So clearing all the cards off, like that. All right, now, this time I would like to know what the bears are doing. I'd also like to know if the birds are attacking. But healing and set sail are nice to have. But none of them have survey. All right, that's fine. I'm going to use this card as survey to find out what the bears are doing. And they're just gaining defense, so I don't care. That's cool. Then I am going to use the set sail for now. It's a shame, but I want to move and get a card so I can work my way over to the birds, and I want to hold on to healing in case it's necessary for later. And there's a move 2. I don't really need to move 2, but I want to keep the healing. So I'm going to use that anyway just to move 1 to go there. And I will use this, which could be fortification. Yeah, I'm going to use that as a survey to see what the birds are doing. They are attacking. He's attacking, but he can't reach anybody with a range 2. So I don't have to worry about that. And it says if the lizards have 4 damage or less, 1 motivation down. They're sharing motivation with the bears. So that's great. All right, so I'm not doing anything. I'm keeping this card for next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. This local contacts card is cool. It lets me flip the top card on any deck. I don't have to be sharing the space with the army to do that. Then they take their turn. We got a 9.8, a 4.4, and a 4.3. So in this order, Tuatara is launching the cannon. And the way that works is I'm going to roll this die, and based on where he rolls, he will hit. So he rolls an 8, which means he's hitting this group of 2 birds up here. They're blocking 1. He's hitting both of the people there. So they both take 2 damage. So the top guy's got 3 damage. And bottom guy's got 2 damage. And that's based on the numbers here. 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 10, and 11 to 12. If he hits a bear at any point, they lose motivation for hitting their own army. That's done. Bears, if at least one has damage, that's going to lose motivation. Yay. And then they each gain 2 defense. But nobody's attacking them. Now, after this order, if the spaces with macaws have 5 fortification, at least, they gain motivation. Otherwise, they lose 1. They only have 3, so that's going to be fine. Strike. This guy's attacking, can't hit anybody. He has less than 4, so they lose a motivation. There's less than 5, so they lose a motivation as well. Awesome. My turn. I'd like to do some healing up in there. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna use a move and a plus to get there and take a card. Encouraging words. I'm going to heal 3. So that guy's completely healed. Like that. I do want to survey. I'm gonna use this draw card to survey. See what the birds are doing. They're placing more fortification down. Okay, so they're not attacking the bears. Let's go see what the bears are doing. Moving 2 spaces with that card gets me to this bear over here. Hold on a minute before I do that. That's useless. I have this card, flip the topmost card. Let's see if they're attacking. Stars are charging. If they end up in a space with the macaw, they're going to attack. So he's getting attacked by this bear. Okay. I could add defense. He's already got 2 defense and he's going to get hit for 3. I don't care. Then, I'm actually going to place a fortification with that card where I am. And then I'm going to use this card to move and draw, which gets me food poisoning. I don't need food poisoning, but if I can hold on to that and get set sail, I can go out here and poison him, and that would be not a bad thing to do. But let's see what happens. We draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. No set sail. We resolve the orders. 9.8, 7, 7, 5, 6. So in this order, they're shooting again. A 1 or a 2 would be great because then the bears get hit. No, it wouldn't because then the bears die. 8, again hitting where we just put the fortification down. The card says the fortification protects both of them, so that's -2. So they each take 1 damage. So he's at 2, or sorry, he's at 3 now, and he's at 1. Like that. Lizard's done. Bears. After this order, remove 2 damage from each bear. And then each star moves forward 1. So they're going like that. And he brings his damage with him, and he attacks that macaw. That macaw has, there's 2 fortifications. So 2 fortification and a shield means no damage is done. And then remove damage from the bears. So he loses those 2 damage. They're healthy again. Good. Then, those go away. Birds. After this order, draw a second right half. So I'm going to do 2 right halves. And if the symbol matches, they're going to lose motivation. So first, every circle places 1 fortification. So 1 up there and 1 down here. And then, not a circle, Each macaw, with a gear, that means this guy moves forward 1 space. And it says he can pass on the impassable terrain because he's flying. Good. Nice thing is I'm now on a space with both of them, so I can survey both armies from the same space. That's awesome. Also, yeah, I need to poison that bear again because they lose things if they're hurt sometimes. I'm going to survey. Attack from the bear. No, bear is blocking. I'm going to survey again to see what is special. Each bear gains 2, so they're gaining 4 defense, but it says if the right half of this order is cover, lose a motivation. So they're losing a motivation, but they're super blocking, so I don't care about this. Let's see what the birds are doing as far as modification. Impatient. All right, this one doesn't change motivation, but if this is an attack, then they're going to do the same attack next turn. And I'm actually going to move and draw a card, because I don't need this card. That gets me a new card, and if I can set sail and hurt him, that might not be a bad option. Otherwise, I just wasted that card coming here, but I got another card for it. And I'm going to stay there like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a set sail, but I don't have any way to hurt anybody. So let's hold off on that. The problem is he's going to attack that guy now. Okay. Turn over the other cards and go. Fire the cannon. 9, 8, 7, 4, 7, 6. So here, and then the birds, and then the bears. That's a 12. 12 hits here, minus 2. Means they take 1 damage. And again, if he dies, that's game over. Didn't hit a bear. Okay, next. Macaws. If this is strike, do it again. It's not. Fortify. Each star gets a fortification, means 1 here, and 1 again up at the top. Those go away. Bears. Each bear gains 2. And each bear gains 2. Defense, nothing, but this is cover, so they do lose 1 motivation. All right, we're not doing bad. My turn. Yeah, as expected, that was kind of a waste. I'm going to move back to... No, let me flip the topmost card of any deck, which is this one here. Oh, again, impatient. I can't affect their motivation this time. They might attack twice. Let me move and a plus card. Put me back in there. There's another set sail. If I hold on to those, I can come back again. Let's do 2 survey. I want to see... There's nothing I can do to change anything right now, except fortification. Let's see what the bears are doing. Gears are charging. They only hurt me if they're in the same space as a bird, and they're not gonna be. So I'm done. Yeah, I'm okay. So we're gonna draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. No poison. I think all the poison might be in the discard right now. Healing's not bad though. Turning over some cards. Cannon's firing again. All right, so we've got a 5-3, a 9-7, and a 9-8. Firing from the bird is a 5. 5 hits. There, 5 to 7, and we're blocking 2. 1, 2, because there's a shield there. So they both take 1 hit. The bear gets 1. And the bird gets 1, which means they did hit the bear. We lose 1 motivation. Yay. Then 9-7 and 5-3. Bears next. Plus 2 defense for all the bears this round. If this is cover, lose 1. It's not. And then these guys are charging forward. And then for the bird side, if this is strike, do it again. It is, so it's going to stay there. And then the circle guys are going to attack. So he's attacking and he's attacking. Means this bear is going to get hit for 2. And his max hit points are 5. So we just lost a bear. So sorry guys, I didn't protect everybody. That means they lose 1 motivation. And now we'll see our first horror card, which is, I guess, good for the playthrough as far as instructional. But it means I don't get that complete clear. That's fine. And this circle is going to attack this bear here, who's not defending at all. -3 hit points, like that. And now I need to be careful because on the next round, I know unless I get rid of that card, this guy's hitting him again. And this guy is going to attack the head. So that stays there. I got a lot of cards left. There's no bear on my space anymore. I'm going to... I can move some people away from things. That's interesting. I can change the attack to a star. And I can move him away, which loses 2 motivation and means he can't hit anybody in attack. So let's hold those 2 cards. That one's a move. This is a heal. Yeah, I'm not setting sail. We're just going to forget about him. I'm moving 1 to there, taking a card. Oh, and that's my first horror. It says roll the die 3 times for each roll, move 1 space in the direction shown below. So I'm going all over the place. 2 is that way. 12 is that way. And 8 is down this way. So we're back here now, which is not what I wanted to do, but that's okay. Because, no, I don't want to do that. We'll see what happens. I'm going to keep those 2 cards still. I want to move and plus again. So we'll go back there and draw a card. Oh, that's nice. Then we're going to push him back 1 space, which means they instantly lose 2 motivation. I am going to play that so that this attack becomes a star. Then I want to move 1 space here to heal that guy for 3. If the bears get hurt, I'm okay with that. Actually, he's going to die right now. And I don't know what the bears are doing. Ah, he's not. Yes, he is. He won't reach. If I push him back there, he'll be defending by 2. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to do then. I'm using this movement to go here. And I'm going to use this last card to push him back behind the fortification over there. Like that. I draw 4 cards. 1, 2. Shuffling up the discard. 3 and 4. Ooh, there's healing. I like it. Then we flip over some cards. Ooh, okay. 6, 5, 1, 1, and 3, 3. So we're starting with 6, 5. He's attacking. Now this guy is close. And he's not defended at all because he can't be flying. So he takes 3 damage. And this guy is blocking for 2, but that doesn't mean anything. Then, the birds. After this order, draw a second half. But this circle is becoming a star, so we're comparing the star. First off, the stars are attacking. He attacks this pair, lowest health, which is him. But he's blocked for 2, so that guy takes 1 damage and still is alive with 4 damage. And then we're going to draw a second card, which is a shame, because that is a star, which means the star is attacking again. against that same guy, which isn't defended now. He's going to die. Which is good because my motivation goes down, but it also means I get one more horror. But also those matched, which means they're going to lose one more motivation. So they're in the green now. If I can get these guys down 2 more, I'm going to win. It's not a great win because, yeah, some bears are dead, but that's not bad. Ah, wait a minute. I didn't resolve the bears yet. And the bears say don't resolve the right half, which is great. They're not attacking. They're losing 1 motivation automatically. So we're very close to winning. Birds are empty over here. I'll give this a shuffle for our next order. Like that. Now it's my turn. I need to peek at things so I have any idea what's going on. Nobody needs healing except this bird, and I can't get there. So I want to make the bears lose motivation. So I need to focus on the bears. Using this movement, I'm going here. And I'm going to peek at the bears. First card. After this order, remove 2 damage from bears. All right, that's not going to help. If they're attacking right now, I don't completely care because they're both different symbols. I don't want any more bears dying. I am going to fortify. This is 2 fortification anywhere. I'm going to fortify the bear leader. And I might as well head back towards the birds, getting 1 more card. But that 1 more card, I'll do it anyway, is a horror that says you cannot survey. Discard when you have no one nearby. I have no one nearby. That's great. Instant discard. I draw 4 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we flip over and see what happens. We might win the game right now, guys. So close. All right, so 0.27796. They go first. If this is the fastest order, gain 1. They do. Darn it. Each circle macaw places a cube. Another one goes there, and another one goes there. That's their turn. Bears. These guys move forward, and they heal for 2, but nobody's hurt, so that's fine. Those go away. Tuatara heals. If they're already... Oh, no. If they're full healing, darn it. If they're at full health, +1, and take 2 damage. Otherwise, -1. That was the problem. I need to keep them hurt, but now they're hurt. All right, so now we're going to shuffle all these decks back up. And now they're both higher than I want them to be. And anything happens now except for fortification from circle birds. All right, so we start on a space with some bears. Let's see what's causing the bears. Motivation, healing, nothing. They might attack, let them, I don't care. We're going to move 1 space to a bird space. And now I want to survey with this one, because if this is a speed one, I can add speed to somebody else. It is. Great. So I want to speed up the bears so that they don't get the fastest. That's our turn. We get 4 new cards, like that. Turning over everything else. Damn. Tuataras are, oh wait, hold on. 9, 6, adding 6 here makes 9, 1. They're still the fastest, and the lizards are 1. Okay, that's a problem. So they're gaining a motivation. And stars are placing out more blocks. over here. Wow, those guys have 4 fortification over there. All right, that's done. Then the bears are next because of this, but that does nothing. Bear Gear is attacking. He's attacking these guys. It doesn't matter who he's targeting because 3 of those go away. And the Tuatara is healing. That's bad. All right, so my turn again. We've got a bit of a situation. I can set sail, but then I get stuck there. I wish I had a fortify from afar. I've got poison too. I kind of want to poison a bear and fortify a bear. But I can't do both. Fortifying him is not a bad idea because he attacks for 5 and it's 4 or less that gets me to minus motivation on that attack. Well, let's survey first and see what the birds are doing. Stars are attacking. All right. So the only one who attacks is this guy. I'm going to hit him. He survives. So I don't have to worry about doing anything. I don't know if they go before or after the bears. So let's survey again. You know what? Yeah, let's survey again. But that's a speed. I want to do it anyway. Survey again to see that. Oh, they're not going to attack at all. Okay, then I don't care. Carrier pigeon lets me trade for something else. I don't need a carrier pigeon right now. All right. Changing the insignia of a group. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move. I don't want to lose the poison, but I kind of have to right now. I'm going to move and draw here. Got a healing card. I don't need the healing card. I'm kind of thinking about going here and fortifying him. But then I'm trapped if I don't get another set sail card. But maybe that's the right thing to do. Yeah. All right, why not? I'm going to move and draw a card. No, then I'm not there. I'm setting sail. When you set sail, it says move from one anchor to the other and draw 1 card from the resource deck. So I get to go there and draw a new card and hope that it's a set sail. Ooh, it is. Perfect. Then I'm going to actually fortify for 2. Because then if they hit for 5, he's still under 4. And then I'm going to set sail back again, which means I get another card back again. Ooh, and now I can place 2 fortify anywhere. I kind of want to protect this bear. But I don't remember if that negative motivation is for more than 2 damage or just any damage. I think it's any damage. So I'm going to protect that bear up there. And I'm going to stay there drawing 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. And let's see what happens. All right. Then Tuatara 6-5, 9-7, and nothing. 0, 1.3. So bears go first. They're gaining 2 defense. If this is cover, they lose a motivation, but it's not. They're charging. Star is charging. So he's going here, which is a problem because as long as he's there, his motivation goes up 1 more. Then he's going to attack that bird for 3 minus 1 is 2. So that bird has 3 damage on it now. Like that. They're done. Except he's defending, but it might matter. Star is still attacking. The closest is here. They're both 1 space away. So that guy's still getting attacked. No, I don't attack at all. Do not resolve the right half of the order. -1 motivation. Okay. Well, that's nice for the birds, but we got problems with these bears. I need to get them 3 down now. good news is they're sharing a space. I don't have any poisons. I can defend people. I don't have any healing though. Yeah, I need to block. Place 2 anywhere. Yeah. I'm going there anyway, but that's fine. Block 2 there. Then move and draw a card going in there. I'm taking a card. Poisoning. None of the bears are hurt anymore. Up to 2 damage. Yeah, I'm gonna poison the captain for 1 damage, just so he's hurt. He won't die with that. And then I want to survey twice. Surveying once to see, hold on. Surveying once to see what this card is. No, bears. Ooh, revoked. He's going back automatically. Cool. For the birds, I can't really affect anything. I want to see who's attacking. Yes. Ah, no, he's just moving. He's flying forward 1 space. All right, so nobody's getting attacked except for whoever he's shooting. And this captain's safe. This captain should be safe for at least for 1 more round. I'm going to stop there. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got healing to get him fixed up. Next round, let's flip. Whoops, that's the wrong flip. This one, like this. This one. So we've got an 8.9, a 3.4, and a 9.8. Lizard's firing first. And it could be, if I get a 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, they're going to hit a bear. I got a 2. Nobody gets hit. They hit that space. That's done. Now, this is a conundrum. I don't know if these get destroyed if nobody's there. I'm going to say that they do, because that space still got hit for 3. No bears got hurt. That goes away. Next is the macaws. After this order, if there are 5 or less, no, at least 5, they're going to get a motivation. There's not. He's got 1, he's got 2, and he's got 1. That's 4. Cool. This guy's moving forward 1 space. Not that it matters. And then they're going to lose 1 motivation because there's not enough stuff. And this guy's going to lose 1 motivation because revoked. Awesome. We're getting there, we're getting there, we're getting there. All right, I'm in a space with both of them. I want to peek at the bears first. If at least 1 bear in this group has damage, 1 minus motivation. They do. That's awesome. I want to heal all 3 of this bird. Like that. I want to flip the topmost card of this bird to make sure it's not a speed. It's not. Okay. Move any cards from a deck. No, I don't need to do either of those things. I'm going to take another look, surveying. Oops, what's this over here? Surveying the next card in the bear's deck. Yeah, they're removing damage with the next card. That's fine. Okay, so we stop there. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. I'm a little scared because I haven't seen those old horrors come back yet. Flipping this card and this card. And this card, we got a 9, 8, a 3, 3, and a 6, 7. Lizard's firing. Please hit a bear. Again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10. That's not a bear. These 2 both get hit for 1, 2 off, 1 each. 1 there and 1 there. That's a shame. Remove damage from him. Doesn't have any damage. Then the bears. If at least 1 has damage, lose a motivation. They do. Good. Then each gear bear moves forward 1 and attacks. Which means this bird is dead. Ouch. Which means I get a horror and they lose 1 motivation. And that bird gets 2 damage. Like that. Then, potentially they're losing motivation if the symbols match, but first they're striking from circle. This bird is attacking this guy right here for 3, but there's 2 fortifications, so that blocks. And 1 more, like that. That goes away, but if this matches, it doesn't, but the gear bird is attacking. And I just realized I may have done this wrong earlier in the video, and if so, I apologize. But the bird is attacking him for 5, minus 2 is 3. If 2 Ataras have 4 damage or less, minus 1. I think I gave the minus 1 to the 2 Ataras before, in which case I actually just lost right now, but I would have paid attention differently if that's the case. Those didn't match, they don't lose again, but we could lose pretty badly. All right, what are we doing? I need to survey. Bears are healing. What are the birds doing? After this order, if it strikes, strike again. I don't care. I need to make the bears lose stuff. What else can I do? Let's survey the next bird and the next bear. Oops. The next bird is again impatient. So they're not losing anything unless something real bad happens. The next bear each bear gains +2 if the right half of the order is cover -1. All right, then I'm going to survey twice on the bears to see if I can make that happen. Ooh, that's a cover. If I can get a card that swaps that out, that would be wonderful. I'm going to spend this to move 1 space and draw. But my next card is a horror. Shoot, shoot, shoot. That's not good. Yeah, I don't have any way to get a card. Oh well, I'm going to move into the space and hope the horror only does things if there's somebody in my space. You can take at most 2 actions during each phase. Discard if you take no actions. That's bad. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what happens. This flips, this flips. If he's at full health, roll. Oh, hold on. 5, 4, 7, 6. Yeah, this is going first. They're not at full health. They're losing 2 damage. That's their turn. Means the bears can't get hit. That's a problem. Next is the birds. Each star places a fortify. I'm okay with that. Oh, I just realized I just need a push to get him out of there, but we'll see what happens. It's not a strike, so that doesn't get doubled. Done. Bear. Remove 2 at the end, but that's fine. And cover, which is annoying because that's what I want for this card. Now, I'm not worried about anything right now. Yes I am. If he dies, I'm in trouble. But I don't have a heal. Oh, he's fortified. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Then I'm not doing anything so that this horror goes away. I get 4 more cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a horror. I have a push. If I can survive this round and they don't go up too high, I could push him out and we can win. All right, then let's see what happens. Cross your fingers. No, that's the worst thing possible. That's real bad. Oh, no, it's not. I can push him in a different direction. Okay, 9, 8, 9, 7, 5, 3. This one goes first. Fire the cannon. If he's at full health, he's not. So he's just healing. That's done. 9-7. Bears are defending +2. If this is cover, lose motivation. It's not. He's moving forward 1 space, which means now he's in the double motivation. So they actually go up 1. Circle's attacking. These two are the same distance away. He's going to attack in front of him clockwise, means hitting this top one up here. He's defending hold on, he's got +2 defense, +1 defense. That fortification doesn't even get knocked down. He's defending. This was impatient, so that strike stays again for next turn. All I need to do is survive this round. And to do that, I'm going to start by first playing this card to move, and no, I don't want to draw. Playing this card to move to there. Oops, we did that already. I want to peek to see what the bears are doing. So I will use this carrier pigeon to survey. The bear's action is charge. Oh, no, the other bear is charging. That's cool. All right. Then I am going to damage the bear for 1 damage, poisoning him. And then I'm going to kick him out of that town this way, which now loses him to 2 motivation and puts him into green. Circle is attacking that guy up there. He's safe. Yeah, I think that's it. There's nothing for me to do. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna move and horror here just to see what happens. This is that weird move around one again. 4 goes this way. 7 goes this way. And 2 goes back up here. So I'm standing there with the bird. That's it for me. All right, so I'm gonna do 1. Shuffling cards. Two, 3, 4, like that. And let's see how this plays out. This could be a problem. Okay, let's see what happens. All right, 0.2, 6.7, 3.3. So we're starting with the 6.7. If at least one bear has a damage, -1. Then each gear bear moves 1 space forward here, which means he's leaving that and goes to surrender, but we might be okay. Wait a second. Well, first things first, if I did that macaw card incorrectly, well, they would have surrendered, but I would have fixed it. This one would actually be at a 1, but I'm not playing with that. Let's see what happens in a minute. That's done. Birds. If to disorder, draw a second half and resolve it immediately. If both have the same, it's -1. First off, the circles are attacking. This guy gets attacked for 3. He's still okay. Then, I need to shuffle. The second card is a star. We're safe, but the stars attack. And the stars are attacking this guy for 3. He's safe, we're okay. And now is where we get saved. Because now we go to the lizards, the tuataras. If they have full health +1 motivation. And that puts them back up to 1. They don't surrender. We've got them both down to 1 motivation. And I survived by the skin of my teeth. The bears have been pretty decimated. everybody's super low morale. And I think that I did that one card incorrectly for the bird once, and if I did, I apologize for that. But that is the game. Now, while we're here, I do like to take a look at the components. I have to say that I am hugely in love with everything that's happening in this game. The the screen printed meeples here look wonderful. I've shown you the armies I've already been playing with and my own characters. Here are the 3 other characters that are available to you. And then let me just show you 1 unit each from the 4 other armies that are present in the game. Really, really great different popping colors. Really cool, both shapes and screen printed designs on them. I am a huge fan of these bits. Coming back to the board, this die is really cool. You don't really see it much while I'm rolling it, but not only is it numbers, it's symbols, because some of the factions, in the first scenario, there's a faction that I roll this and they can randomly change which card is being activated. So it's just like an attack card and you roll this to see which units are attacking randomly, so it's harder for you to plan for it. That's a really cool inclusion. These health chips and fortification tokens, nothing special about them. They're just discs and cubes, but the colors are really nice and they do really stand out very well on the board. As far as the cards go, I've shown you all the cards. The symbology is really clear. The artwork on the cards is great. The order cards look cool as you put these 2 pieces of a scroll together. Very easy to understand. Great iconography. I love multi-use cards. I'll talk more about that in my final thoughts. But just the way that everything's laid out on the cards, the graphic design and the user interface design in this game is very, very well done. I love these little crystals. I've seen them before in games like Viticulture, where they sort of pull the number up. It's almost like a magnifying glass on the number that it's showing. I really do like the way that looks. Let me just real quickly, before I go away, show you the first scenario as well. This prototype only has the first 2 scenarios, but I just want to show you in the first scenario, there is no impassable terrain. It is the macaws from the second scenario, starting out over here, sort of in the jungles, attacking the town of these ocelot warriors. The macaws, you've already seen how they act in the other game. You don't get that flying unit this time, so there's no speedy movement across the board, but they do have archers on the ocelot side that have a longer range that are sort of shooting at the macaws as they're coming in. This scenario is a little bit easier and a little bit shorter, but it's a great introduction, a great tutorial, just 2 armies clashing, kind of a thing to start off. So far, I love the design and the look of everything here. Meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself. Sorry, one last important thing before I go, because I do like to show off the insert for games, and this is a prototype of the game that is now on Gamefound, but the box seems to be pretty much what it's going to be, and I just wanted to show this off because I love this insert. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but each of these cards lots is marked as scenario 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the horror deck and the resource deck, and everything is very nicely separated and held very nicely in there. We've got the fortification and the damage tokens here, which each of the 4 player markers, the glass beads, the die, each of those rubber things fits in here, sorted by shape. And then again on this side, you can see on the outside of the box, but also on the inside of the box, each of these is labeled with the army that fits into that slot. It's just very nicely organized, but more importantly, the setup and takedown for this game is really fast because everything just comes out and puts on the book where it belongs. And then as soon as you're done, it all goes back to where it belongs. And it's super easy, no baggies to fiddle with, nothing else that just sort of impedes the speed of taking out this game and putting it away when you're done. So kudos to them for this insert. Now meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. So I mentioned up top that this is the sequel to Dawn of Peacemakers, a very interesting concept of a game where you are out on a battlefield not waging war, but actually trying to stop the armies from fighting and sort of bring peace to the land. And I didn't ever get a chance to play that, but I was very, very interested, so I'm very excited to have finally gotten a chance to try a game in this series. And I'm going to talk about all the things that I do like or even dislike about this game, but I want to mention one thing here. I never played the original game, but I did hear some complaints about the original game that the theming was you going out on the battlefield to stop a battle, but that sort of one of the main ways that you did that in the original game was sort of working to get some of the armies or the units killed in some of the armies, because as units die in the game, obviously the army loses sort of motivation or morale, and that sort of works towards them giving up or accepting peace with the attacking forces or the opposing forces. In this game, that still is there. You can still use the death of a unit to drop that motivation, but they've now added in this game these horror cards that every time that happens, you're adding something into your deck that makes your experience sort of worse. So it really is punishing you for doing that. And I like to see that here because obviously in a game where you're trying to broker peace, you don't really want to be out there killing people in order to achieve peace, because that's not really doing what they want to be doing. So I just wanted to point that out first, that was a really nice and very interesting, unique sort of addition to the game to deal with that weird sort of dichotomy of killing people to promote peace. With that said, let's talk about the rest of the game, because I never played the original game, so I can't really compare it in any other ways to the original game. I just want to say that I am really loving everything I see in this game. So first, the sort of core mechanism in this game is a multi-use card system, and I tend to be a fan of these multi-use card systems because there's a lot of thought that needs to go into what you're doing and how you're doing it, because you have a limited sort of set of cards in your hand. But each of those cards can be used for a wide variety of different things, right? You can use that to find out what the armies might be doing on this turn or even upcoming turns. You can use them to move around on the board, which is super important because you can't really use them for anything else until you're in the right places on the board. So using a card to move eliminates that card from your hand, and therefore you can't use it for anything else. So you really have to be smart about your movement, where you are, where you go, sort of where you camp in between turns so you're closer to the things that you need to get done. Then you can also use the card to set up fortification, which is again super important depending on the scenario, because some armies will be very aggressive and some armies just kind of sit in place and defend wherever they sort of start off at the beginning of the game. So building up these fortifications is really important, especially if you don't want those sort of armies to be dying throughout the game. And I want to talk about that just for a second, because that's a sort of an additional challenge you can do for each of the scenarios in this game, is to try and play through without any casualties. And depending on the scenario, that can be really hard. I played the first scenario a few times with and without other challenges, and every time I've played that one, I've managed to keep everybody alive. But this second scenario, with or without additional challenges, I still have yet to beat this once with nobody dying. Every time I've played, I've had at least 2 units dying in this scenario. It's very, very tricky, but it adds to the sort of replayability of the game. But let's go back to the multi-use cards, right? The last part of that card, or the last part of the icons on the side of the card, is the ability to trade cards. And in a multiplayer game, that's going to be really important, because in every player count of this game, you always start with 4 cards and you always draw 4 cards each round. And I don't mean per person, I mean per group of people. So in the solo mode, you get all of those cards, but in the multiplayer game, you're going to have to figure out how to split those cards up amongst each other, and it might be that one person needs more than one of those cards or more than 2 of those cards, so then you do have to make use of that icon to start passing cards around the table. So that adds a little bit of extra layer to the game that I don't get to see in solo, but I just wanted to point out that it's there. And then finally, you've got that ability at the bottom of every card, and that's where it actually adds even more to the game, because it's not just about moving around, pushing people, building up fortifications, but there's sort of unique things that you can do with those cards. Some of the cards will let you move armies around. Some of the cards will let you add fortifications or sort of scout far away distant places without having to be in the space of that unit in order to flip over cards in the deck. Some of the cards let you sort of manipulate those decks so that if something bad is happening this round or something bad is happening next round and you want to move that to a later round or get rid of it completely, you can do that using some of these cards. So the card play system is really cool here. And then adding to that, and this is going to be a whole different sort of subject to talk about, but I'll start right now by saying The scenarios twist things up completely on top of that. Now, in this prototype copy, I only got to see 2 scenarios. The first one is a very basic, one army sitting in place, another army coming to invade. The second one is kind of that, but then you've got that addition of the pirate ship that's sort of raining cannonballs over the battlefield. And that really does twist things up. But more importantly, you saw in the second scenario, which is what I did the playthrough of, it added into my player hand, my resource deck, those cards that allowed me to travel from anchor point to anchor point so that I could go out to that pirate ship and do stuff to that lizard that was sitting on the pirate ship. Which means that in the remaining scenarios that are going to be in the finalized game, they can add all kinds of new card abilities that are very scenario specific to whatever it is that you need to be doing in said scenario. And that is really, really cool to me. Because you saw not only does my player deck change, but more importantly, every scenario has different armies. Every scenario has those different armies interacting in different ways. And every scenario has its own deck of enemy cards. So the macaws were attacking in the first scenario, and now in the second scenario, they're like in this fortress defending against the bears that are attacking them. And yes, there are some cards that you see in both scenarios. The macaws have the same kind of units, except for that flying unit. That flying unit wasn't in the first scenario. They have the same kind of units. They have the same kind of personality, but depending on the scenario, depending on what they're doing in that scenario, some of the cards in the deck are going to be different. The way that they gain or lose motivation might be slightly different. That one where they gained and lost based on the speed of their card, I saw that in both games. But some of them are going to change, which means even the same creatures, the same army in different scenarios are going to behave differently. And that just makes this game, the theme, shine even more because these battles really do feel different. These scenarios really do feel different. Even if it's the same 2 sets of armies fighting, they're fighting in different ways based on the story of that scenario. And I think that's really, really cool. Because what it does is, at least for the first time, maybe even the second time you play a new scenario, you really don't know what it is that you need to do to win. You don't really know what these enemies are going to be doing on the battlefield, or these armies are going to be doing on the battlefield, which makes it sort of feel like a real world thing. If I was this creature going out on a battlefield to stop the battle and I see 2 armies, I don't know how those armies are going to behave. I don't know what it is that I can do or the other army can do or even their own army can do to increase or decrease their motivation on the battlefield. I sort of have to watch and see what's happening and do my best to sort of maintain a sort of status quo until I see how they act, and then I can start picking away at those weaknesses to make that motivation drop. And I think that's really cool because there's this cool sort of learning curve with each successive scenario that's different from the previous scenarios, and how you go about playing, and whether you're hurting someone intentionally to lower motivation or you're doing your best to keep everyone healed so that nobody gets hurt. There's all of these different sort of combinations and intertwining uses of these multi-use cards that really makes this game a whole lot of fun. And I'm really enjoying everything I see. Now, I do say it's kind of a surprise and there is this learning curve, but that doesn't mean that after you've played a few times that this game is done. Because, as you saw, each of these scenarios adds in additional challenges. First off, there's the one that's just don't let anybody die, which could be really hard depending on the scenario that you're playing. But then they also add in specific sort of extra challenges for each scenario that are tailored to that scenario. For example, the second scenario you just watched has 2 challenges. The first challenge is that lizard on the pirate ship that's firing off cannons. Every time it fires a cannon, instead of doing so once, it does it 3 times. So now you've got this sort of rain of cannonballs that you're really trying to deal with as you go through the game. And that really mixes things up and makes the challenge just that much harder to get through. The second challenge in the second scenario is a fog of war. And a fog of war says, I can't look at any of the top cards in the deck. Well, that means I have to sort of predict what could or could not happen and make sure everything is set up to match sort of anything that could come out of the deck. And it just adds another interesting twist. It gets rid of that whole survey action and makes me focus on doing other things. Lots of fortification, lots of protection, lots of sort of pushing people away from each other. And just this idea that not only is there a scenario, but then there's 2 additional ways to tweak the scenario to make that scenario different and unique in some other way. The variability here is great. even with the same scenario, even without the challenges or with the same challenges done again. The replayability here is definitely here, and there's a whole lot of fun to be had in this game. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the scenarios look like. I saw all the different armies in the box, and none of the scenarios that I played, or the 2 scenarios that I played, had about only half of the armies that are in there. So I can't wait to see how the other armies behave, what kind of unique twists they have and add to the game. I'm very excited to see more of this game. As I said, this game right now is running on Gamefound as I'm recording this video. When this goes live, there's only going to be a few days left. So if this is something you're interested in, don't hesitate. Go check it out quick because you might run out of time. I would be surprised if they don't have a late pledge or a retail pledge later on. But definitely, if this looks like something you'd be interested in, I'm having a whole lot of fun with it, and I definitely recommend you go check it out. The link to the campaign is down below to make that easier for you to do. With all that said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, I ask that you like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.